Hello all, warm welcome to today's session. We have yet another interesting episode of for the love email Thursdays today. So we are going to talk about a very interesting session we are going to have a very interesting session today, and we are going to converse more about how to build two-way conversations with interactive emails powered by AMP. I'm your co-host for the day. I'm Anand. I'm a customer success manager with Netcore Cloud. Joining along with me is Mr. Ganesh Rai, product manager at Netcore Cloud. Warm welcome, Ganesh.
Thank you, Anand. Thank you. I'm excited to talk about AMP.
Absolutely, Ganesh. So let's get cracking. So as per a litmus survey, right, we have seen that hardly 17% of the global brands are actually sending out interactive content in their email. So can you help us understand what exactly is an interactive email or a AMP campaign, and why should marketers, power their emails through AMP?
That's a good place to start. So let us first see what is AMP. So AMP is a technology developed by Google, right, which they launched a couple of years back, which basically allows marketers to add interactivity within their emails. Now, what do we mean by interactivity here? So right now, if I have to say show my users a catalog of 3 to 4 product images, right, I have to stack those images one below the other, right? Or if I have to, I cannot customize it. I don't have a control over it to show it to my end user in a beautiful manner, right? Now now you can add, using AMP, you can add carousel within the email. So this then gives you a website like feature that works within the email beautifully, right? Similarly, you can have accordions. You can add content that stays up to date. Now, stays up to date means that when the user opens, that content can be refreshed and live data can be served to that end user, right? And you have that, and there are some other use cases, like you can have a form which the user can fill within the email without being redirected outside. So as we are aware that the step where you click on a button and you are redirected outside of the email is where the experience for an end customer is destroyed, right? And we see there's a high percentage of dropout that happens at that point. So all these things are basically covered under AMP. AMP is a tool that marketers can employ to make their emails much more interactive, right? Engage their users in a better way, right? And probably revolutionize a channel that has not seen much change over the past 2 decades. Like emails more or less have stayed the same in their style and look, right? AMP gives that functionality where you have something refreshing in front of your user. So in short, it is what will add a wow element to your email campaign.
Splendid, Ganesh. So let's try and understand, why marketers should adopt AMP in their email campaigns.
Right. So first point that I already mentioned is, we all know, right, that email is the best channel for ROI, right? You get the highest return on your investment through email. But the problem was that we could not address a lot of use cases through emails. Now, what AMP allows us to do is widen the space where emails can be used. Say, for example, now I want a feedback from my customer. Before, I would have to have a web page, or I have to send him a Google form link, and then the user can probably fill that. Now, that action can be completed within the email, where a user just opens up the email, fills it like he would do it on any other website, and just click a submit button, and the data is received back on the customer's end, right? So there's such a smooth experience that you can now imagine many more use cases that you would earlier have not tried to address through emails, right? It revitalizes the email technology. As I mentioned, that emails as a technology has not seen much change over the past 2 decades, right? But now this interactivity element like sky is the limit. You can think of any use case, right, that works in a website, and that more or less can be replicated in the email also, right? Now, and then there's you can have an entirely new level of personalization, right? Because a lot of data can be served to the user basis on the time when he or she is opening the email. That also gives you a lot, that gives marketer a lot more control, right? A lot more things can be personalized, right? You can be we can show you something that is relevant to you in the morning, and if you say for you opening the same email in the evening, we can show you different content which is relevant to you in the evening time. So all those so that hyper personalization comes in, right? There's low competition right now because, as you mentioned before, very few marketers have till now used AMP campaigns, and a fewer number of end customers, like people like normal emails receivers like us, have received an AMP campaign, right? So if any brand starts with these campaigns, I think they will be the first one to send one AMP email to their customers inbox, and in that way there's a clear differentiation between how your email campaign looks like and what your competitors email campaigns looks like. Now and since because of all these things the experience is improved a lot, you'll have high conversions, right? So and I'm sure you'll give an example of a few of these use cases, and you reduce your drop offs. So all in all, it's a very strong technology that has the potential to revolutionize the whole email marketing industry. We are just, what we are seeing right now are just the early stages, but still there's a lot of potential that we see.
Absolutely, it
Now,
is the tip of the iceberg, huh?
Right. So as next steps, Anand, can you take us through how can we actually have these two-way conversations set up? Can you give us a few use cases and examples of the same?
Absolutely, Ganesh. Thank you so much for throwing more light on why a marketer should use AMP in their email campaigns. So how exactly can you build a two-way conversation in email? So we can start powering one of the some of the common use cases that the marketers are already doing with AMP. Just to give a example upfront, we can marketers have always been sending across survey campaigns, feedback campaigns, just to get a better understanding of their product from the end customers, so that they can use that input and make their product a little bit more better. Now what is happening is that elaborate surveys, or let's say feedback campaigns that has been directed towards the end customers, they find themselves getting dropped off at a particular point in time. Essentially, after seeing the creative getting redirected to a third party platform is causing them to just leave out in the middle, because there are way too many actions that needs to be performed by the customer. Right now, what we can actually do here, we can eliminate that additional step of getting redirected to a third party platform and having the feedback entered over that. We can facilitate the entire thing within the email content, so that the process of sharing the feedback, giving that qualitative input becomes much more seamless and easier. So just to kind of showcase the power here, I'm gonna play a video. Voila. So essentially, it took hardly a 20-second for the end customer to complete that survey and move on with his life, right? But what is happening as of now, a static image with the redirection CTA, the user getting redirected himself to a third-party platform, completing the entire process of feedback entry, or the survey process becomes much more difficult for him. So what we can actually achieve here through AMP, make that experience much more seamless, simpler. Essentially, making their experience more seamless and simpler, we will get much better responses, or a very an excellent lift in responses as compared to how we are regularly doing it. Similarly, when it comes to feedback campaigns, the same strategy can be employed. So you can enter the time frame within which you've been using that particular product, give a feedback if you're satisfied or not. Would you want to recommend that to a peer or a friend, and be done with it in less than 20 seconds. So the process becomes much more simpler and much more easier for the end user. Now, another interesting use case over here, when it comes to product-based companies, there'll be a feature rollout, a new feature rollout, or new product launches that will happen often, right? And you'll have multiple variations or multiple variants to a particular new product that you're going to launch. So how are you actually, planning to showcase that in a much more simpler manner? Google Store have done this brilliantly over here. They have launched the Pixel Buds. And there are multiple color variants to the Pixel Bud, right? Essentially, rather than having multiple images showcasing the different variants, they have brilliantly used carousels here to showcase the 4 different color variants that they are having. So as you can see, there is an orange variant, there is a light blue variant, a black variant, and rather than having different images, to showcase different color variants, everything can happen in a much more seamless manner over here. And from a e-com perspective, you can, power your email and get that converted into a product display page. Essentially, the use case that we are seeing over here belongs to that of a hotel company. Essentially, what you can do is you can mention the check-in date, you can mention the checkout date, and you can actually select the room and reserve that particular room. Essentially, all these actions are actually being carried out on the website or the app, right? Now imagine being able to power your email to ensure that 90% of the desired user actions are actually can be done on the email content itself. It becomes much more easier for the customer to engage and converse with the brand. Correct. Moving on to other use cases that we are having, when it comes to informatory mailers or let's say newsletter campaigns, it tends to have a little bit more information that may not be completely consumed by the users, right? So you can actually employ accordions over here and, kind of curate your content in a excellent fashion so that the user actually has that ability to, consume it as per their will. So just to kind of, showcase what BBC have done over here. This is a mailer in terms of one of the programs that they actually have. So you can actually go and click over there, consume the content for a specific aspect, then basically move on and do the same for something else altogether. So rather than having the entire information thrown at you, you feel a little bombarded. This is a much more simpler way you can enhance the user experience for the customer. Similarly, when it comes to a gamification element of what you can actually do with AMP, right? So most of the companies provide offers, let's say on seasonality basis or on the basis of availability. So rather than directly giving an offer, you can gamify that process to ensure that it is more interactive in nature. Rather than directly giving a coupon code, you can add in a pinch of gamification. You can create a short puzzle out of it. Upon a successful completion of the puzzle, right, you can display that coupon code, or you can reveal that offer to the customer. So what happens over here? A small conversation tend to happen, and the user feel more accomplished getting the coupon code after doing something positive, right? So in that way, you can make your content a bit more interactive. Similarly, you can encompass a small element of AMP into your existing campaigns also. For example, this is one of the regular campaigns that has been going out on a daily basis. You can actually incorporate the element of rating right at the bottom to get a feedback of the email on the fly. So what I'm trying to say over here, that it's not so tough to kind of incorporate an interactive element in your campaign. You can actually do that for your existing campaigns too, or you can add in that interactive element to amplify the kind of responses that you can receive for your existing campaigns too. So Ganesh, we have actually seen, the possibilities with which we can power regular use cases with AMP and amplify it much more. Now, can you walk us through, how to go about sending that first AMP campaign? What is the process behind it?
Right. So sending out an AMP campaign is very much similar to how you send a regular campaign. There are just a couple of differences, and we'll go through those in detail. So first step, as is with a regular campaign, you have to get a creative ready that you will send it out to your customers. Now, what is different here from a regular campaign is that you need an AMP creative as well as you need a fallback creative. So what do we mean by fallback is that AMP right now is only supported on Gmail and Yahoo IDs. So in case you are sending it to say some ID which is hosted on some other email client, say it is an Apple ID or something like that, the AMP content won't load for that end user. So you want a content that loads in place of your AMP content, which is your present simple HTML content. So for every campaign, you need an AMP creative and you need a fallback creative with it, right? Which gets loaded on the customer's end in case the AMP is not working properly.
So essentially, the deployment happens together, right? The AMP version of the use case and the regular version of the use case. Perfect.
Yes, yes. And basis the end user, if the end user, where the end user is viewing his email, if AMP is supported there, the AMP content will load. If it is not supported, then the fallback HTML content will load. Right. The next step is since AMP is a new technology, there are chances, and we have seen cases where customers sort of they have small errors in their AMP HTML code. Right. So the next step is to actually go on the AMP playground and just validate your code. So you can click there and you can see if your code has any errors and you can fix them on the fly. And this can be done quickly.
Essentially, we want to, kind of get the AMP code and get that pasted over here, get it validated, right? And once it is like validated as pass, essentially it means that, our code is error free, it is good to go. Otherwise, you'll have to kind of circle back and sit with your designer and get it fixed.
Perfect.
Got it.
Now, the third step here is actually something that we don't have to do for our regular campaign. So where we have to get a sender ID whitelisted with Google and Yahoo. So since AMP is a new technology, right? Google has been maintaining some control over who gets to send out AMP campaigns.
Right.
So if you want to get started, you first have to draft AMP creative and a fallback creative, and you send it to those IDs are publicly available. You send it to a Gmail ID and a Yahoo ID, and the employees from Gmail and Yahoo then verify that the content looks fine, the fallback also looks fine, and then they whitelist your sender ID. Now, it is very important that this is a sender ID whitelisting and not a template whitelisting or a domain level whitelisting. So you just get one sender ID
available over here, right? All right.
Right. You can find all information in our blogs. We have written many blogs and we have explainers around AMP and how you can get whitelisted. And if you are a Netcore customer, I think Netcore team also helps you to get this whole process getting started quickly. And the last step is then testing your campaign and deploying it to your end customers. So that's it. I think the whitelisting step is, and that is anyway a one-time process. You don't have to do it for all your campaigns. Once you have a sender ID whitelisted, you can use it for all of your campaigns. Now,
got it.
So now that you've understood how to get started with AMP campaigns, Anand, can you give a quick walkthrough of any customer of ours who have used AMP campaigns and what are the results that they have seen?
Absolutely, Ganesh. So, brands have already started amping up their, regular version of the, use cases. So just to, give few examples over here, Redbus has been sending short survey campaigns for their recent transactors to try and understand their brand awareness. So essentially, there are multiple, verticals, multiple functionalities that is associated within Redbus. We have Safety Plus, we have the live bus tracking feature, we have Primo, we have Reddy. So these are multiple, features and feature sets and functionalities that is made available. And they wanted to kind of understand the user's brand awareness of all these feature sets. So, like a regular campaign process, right? They used to send it as a, normal campaign, redirecting the user to a third-party platform where the actual survey is hosted. Now they have amped up their, survey creative and facilitated the entire survey within the email content. So just to kind of, showcase, it was as simple as for the end user to check these boxes to give the brand an understanding that he or she is aware of these many feature sets and give a qualitative input about the features that they have experienced or used. Then basically click on submit. This entire process took less than, let's say, 10 seconds or 15 seconds maximum for the customers to complete, and the results have been excellent so far. Redbus have actually seen a whopping 3.4x lift in response rate as compared to doing it as a regular campaign. So likewise, Mintra have done a very interesting campaign by the end of last year, precisely on 31st. Essentially, what Mintra have done, they have given a complete rewind. They have for a particular user, there are a lot of personalizable elements in that particular campaign. Now they have brilliantly showcased the data enrichment use case over here. Essentially, they collected users information within the content of the mail. So as you can see, right, there are multiple personalized elements over here, dynamic variables. As you scroll down, there is a quiz that the user can actually take. The quiz is pretty simple. You enter your name, you enter your date of birth, and by the capture of this date of birth information, it enabled Myntra to kind of send curated deals or offers to these users. So all this was carried out within the email content itself.
This is first party, zero party data collection at the cost of sending an email.
Absolutely, absolutely, bang on, Ganesh. So now that you mentioned that, coming to one of the most exciting brands that we have currently, the leading media brand of the country. So essentially, what your story was trying to drive, your story does a lot of online events and workshops and seminars, right? They wanted to drive a lot of registrations for these events and seminars and workshops. So what was happening, they used to collect registrations from, like I have mentioned previously, through third-party platforms, and the kind of outcome that they have received was not impressive. So they have brilliantly, infused forms within the email content itself, so that the registration process becomes much more simplified for the end user. As you can actually see, upon reading more about what the event is actually about, you can enter your full name, your mobile number, you can click on submit. You're pretty much done in terms of registration. So rather than having to go through an entire Google form and entering each and every aspect and getting that completed, we made it much more simplified for the end user to register themselves for the respective webinar or an event. And the kind of impact that we have seen has been astonishing, a 5.5x lift in registrations as compared to how they usually used to do it in a regular way. So it has been an amazing experience for these brands in terms of using AMP in their campaigns. So Ganesh, just wanted to kind of understand, are we planning to further amp it up in terms of coming up with exciting new use cases around AMP? Do we have something being worked in the background?
Right. So if you can just move to the next slide, so there's this game Wordle which went very viral. I think a month and a half back. Right, very simple game. You get one chance to play it in one every day. And users, like if you see a Twitter feed or Instagram, people have filled it with their Wordle scores. So what we wanted to show here is that AMP is such a powerful technology that you can even have these games also within the email, right? So as we can see in this video, right? Anil, if you could just play the video. So there's, as we are aware of the rules, there's one correct word. There's a one correct 5-letter word, which is the right answer to this puzzle. Right, and the user then gets to have his guesses at it, right? So and this is just a screenshot of my email. But as you can see, I took my first guess. I got one alphabet right. I took my second guess. I identified that L and W are also part of the answer. In my third guess, I know the last 3 alphabets are L, O, W, and then I get my correct answer. Right, and as you can see, we can then change the screen how it happens in a website, and I can show a success message there itself. And this could have been something as there could be a share button there. There could have been an offer. There could have been a voucher. This can be coupled with anything that we are doing, that brands are already doing currently. But this then allows you a very high level of engagement. And this is just one of many examples that we have built in-house, and we also keep building for our different customers. So just wanted to leave our viewers with this, that how powerful a technology AMP is, and it is up to your imagination how you can think that what new ways you can think of interacting with your customers. Absolutely. I think we can now open up for question and answer.
Right. So I think we do have few questions here. Getting on to the first question, for sending dynamic content, is the sender ID approval a one-time process, or do we have to do it every time we send an AMP campaign?
So this is only a one-time process. So if you want to get a new sender ID, right? Then in case you again have to reapply, and you have to get again a white approval from Gmail, right, from Google. But basically, it is a sender ID level verification. You don't have to do it for every AMP campaign that you are sending out. Once you have one email ID at least, which is whitelisted.
Right. So if the brand have decided to, let's say, power one of their other sender domains with AMP, right, they'll have to repeat that process once more. But once it is done for a specific sender ID, then basically you're sorted for, let's say, life. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Perfect. So getting on to the second question, how is data capture facilitated if we host surveys or questionnaires on the mail content itself?
You want to take this up, or should I take it?
Absolutely. So unfortunately, this is an anonymous question. All right. So data capture can be facilitated in three different ways. Basically, we can ensure that the captured data is made available to be downloaded in our customer engagement platform, or we can send this information through webhooks that can be consumed by the brand as per their will. Or we can actually configure the fields within the creative in such a way that as soon as the user enters that information, the brand will be able to collect that from there and at their servers. And so that there are three ways that we can actually facilitate data capture when it comes to survey or questionnaire specific use cases of AMP. So moving on.
The last question is, what services does Netcore Cloud offer to facilitate execution of AMP campaigns? So right now we already are. So Netcore has always been supporting sending out AMP campaigns. The only piece that we didn't have was an in-house editor, right, where users can come and quickly drag and drop elements and get this thing going, right? Get an AMP campaign done quickly. So and we are actually very excited to announce that is under final stages of development, and sometime next week we'll be launching it for our customers, where they can address their simple use cases of AMP through our editor and everything. So, and if you're a Netcore customer, you can just use our editor. You can create a you can have a creative ready, and you can send it out, and you are done within an hour. So I don't think it will take any much extra time than it takes for a regular campaign. So and if you have any other questions, we can always reach out to, you can set up a conversation with us, or you can reach out to our team if you're an existing customer, and we'll be happy to help you with more detailed answers, more detailed points on what we are launching in our product.
Splendid, Ganesh. I think we have one more question. So what technology drives this engagement in email, and can every browser render it?
Right. So it's basically right. Every browser can render it. And as I mentioned before, it is a technology developed by Google, AMP accelerated mobile pages, which was initially used to basically increase the speed of web pages when the adoption of mobile phones increased. So they have extended that same functionality to emails. Right now, there are limited number of JS codes that are supported, like limited number of JS libraries that you can import, right? But they give wide enough flexibility that anything can be any use case can be served. I don't see a problem there.
Splendid. So this is like pretty much limited to the marketeer's imagination, right? Can do wonders with AMP.
Right. If we can have the Wordle inside an email, I think other use
anything
cases
is
are
possible.
Actually simpler, right?
Excellent, Ganesh.
Because there's a lot of live data fetch that is happening. User is sending a response that we are checking that if that word is correct or not. Right. And then we are telling you that at which position that alphabet is. So there's a lot of live data rendering that is happening, and we can then see many different use cases of it also. Right. So a fintech company can serve, say, if you are a company that allows crypto trading, your customers can open their emails at any time, and they'll see the latest price of, say, Bitcoin or Ethereum. Right, and that can be fetched live from the servers, and it is always updated. User is always updated on the current price. I think that has a lot of utility.
So that speaks volumes about the capability of AMP, right? And the reason why marketers will actually have to amp up their email game. Yes.
Right. Right.
Splendid. So, I'm. Do we have any other questions? I guess
No,
we
I don't
are
think so.
done with all questions, right? So, guys, we want to wrap up the session by giving a call out to the email awards that we are hosting. So, Netcore is actually hosting Asia's first Email Excellence Awards on 25th of February. We'll be having, 12 plus global speakers and 14 plus awards to give. Basically, we are kind of, on the lookout for brands who have done email marketing in the most innovative way, in the most, let's say, optimized way. There are 14 plus categories and 28 awards to give. So, do check out our website and ensure that you have your calendars blocked for 25th of February from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. So it's gonna be a session to remember.
Right. Sounds exciting.
Excellent. So I think we are done for the day, Ganesh. Thank you all for joining in and spending this 30 minutes with us. And if you have any other queries, you can definitely reach out to our team. We'll be able to kind of get in touch with you and get it answered. And if you want to set up a specialized demo to further understand the capabilities of AMP, we are just a call away or a mail away. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks to you, Anand, also for explaining these wonderful use cases and
Thank you
for
so
the
much,
wonderful
Ganesh, for
work
your
that you've
time.
done with our customers.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ganesh, for your time. So, looking forward to yet another episode of, For the Love of Emails by next Thursday. Thank you so much, all. Bye.
Thank you.